This is the last step of the 14 steps found in the art of storytelling. It deals with practice audiences. You'll find this fascinating because this is very important to storytellers. They know for a story to be polished, they must tell it at least 5 times. Consequently, they're experts at finding practice audiences. Join them now as they share with you different ways that they plan to practice this story that they have developed in front of you. Let's join our storytellers.
My wife is my first audience for almost everything, so there's my first one. A guild meeting, a storytelling guild meeting would be a good place to try it out. And I'm thinking maybe at my church I could this is a story that I could use in one of the Sunday school classes, or more than one of the Sunday school classes. Sure. There's a nursing home not far from my home where I could go in and tell this as well as other stories. Sure. Libraries.
I have 14 grandchildren. I've got plenty of times to tell this story. And I'm definitely going to develop it more. I'm going to tell it to my grandchildren. Probably I could tell it to them all at one time, or I could do them in little pieces of it right there. Also have a monthly guild meeting. It's what we call our monthly coaching meeting, and I will definitely tell it there. I will do that. And I'm also at various conferences, and sometime we have what's called Bedtime Stories with John. And that's when the conference day is over and everyone is ready to go out and fellowship or else go to bed. We just encourage those who want to can come back after the last goodbye. Everyone can come back for the evening, and I'll just tell a few stories. And this one would really fit nicely in that kind of setting. I just used to do fun stories at that time. I tell people they actually sleep better if they'll come and listen to nighttime stories, and when they come back to the conference in the morning, they will actually have slept better. And I've had people woke up and say, yes, they have. Now this story here would really fit that setting nicely.
This is a great little story because it's so brief. You can pop it into so many places. I have a lot of teacher friends, and sometimes I want to try out new activities and they just let me come into their classroom. I think it'd be a great opener for a science class with little ones if you're studying insects, or if you're even the real little ones, if you're studying communities, if you're studying the farms, it's a great place to work it in. I live in an agricultural community, and so I can even see, sometimes I get called in to tell a story to the Lions or tell a story to the Chamber of Commerce. Being in an agricultural community, this story could just pop right into any one of those places. Nursing homes would be a great place for this story because I find in a nursing home the short stories tend to serve my purpose better. Again, many of my people in my nursing homes are retired farmers or women who have worked on the farm, and so this is a story they would love. So I see a lot of places I can use it. Another thing is that character education is so huge in the schools right now. This story, originally I thought the central idea of this story was the idea of that conceit and being a conceited person. But after I did my research and I looked at how huge that bull is and that tiny little gnat, I thought, what a great character ed story too for be the big person. Don't let those tiny little things bother you. So maybe the most valuable place for this story is those days when everything seems to be going wrong for me. Tell myself this story and say, don't let the little stuff bug you.
this year in Illinois for the library storytelling, the summer reading program, it's called Pause for Read, P-A-W-S, Pause for Read. And a lot of animals, especially pets, will be used. And I could add that dog story as one of my stories that I could tell for a pause to read. A good story to have in your back pocket, if you're teaching in a school, which I don't teach anymore, but you have these kids sometimes who are so full of themselves, and they get knocked down for whatever reason, you know. Maybe that was a good little one-on-one story you could tell to that child. You know, well, let me tell you about the story about this dog, what happened to him, you know.
I can definitely see this story told in elementary or even maybe middle school classrooms, libraries, that type of setting. There's a lot of library programs that and then you could refer them to Aesop's Fable and maybe get the kids to read. I can also see this story going into a more Christian setting and talking about treasures and where your heart is, there your treasure is as well. And Jesus talked about money a lot. I can see using this story to prompt like a springboard to a further discussion about that. So, Sunday school classes, workshops, retreats, that type of thing. I would do it for adults, like an adult Sunday school setting or an adult workshop.
Well, one way that I could use this story is in my own classroom. I am a teacher of high school students, and it talks a lot about the effort and the process is the reward in itself. And that even a student who maybe works very hard but doesn't get an A, they still worked very hard and can be proud of that and will have results from that and will have success from that. Maybe they'll have better study skills in college because they went through that process. I think in a church setting it could be used in terms of encouraging people to serve the Lord. I think of the parable of the talents in Matthew and how different servants were given different number of talents, but the expectation was to use the talents they had to work hard, to do their best as they work, and not necessarily focusing on the outcome itself.